Welcome to Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. In today's episode, we got Lorenzo Luiso. Lorenzo is the founder of Brick Digital, an SEO and PPC digital marketing agency from Watford in England. Welcome, Lorenzo. One more thing. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank you and enjoy. Welcome to Margin Business Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Today we got Lorenzo as a special guest. And we're going to talk about entrepreneurship and tell us a little bit about how everything began, where you're located, and where does the entrepreneurship coming from? Where had this all started?
So thanks for having me on, Omar. It's been great. I know we've worked together for a while, and it's been good to get on the podcast with you and discuss this. But I'm based just north of London in a place called Watford for anyone listening, and have been all my life. But my family were always in sort of business, but totally different to this. Never ventured online or into anything technology based. But in the past, my parents were in the tool hire business, so construction machinery. And then from that, I like the idea of working for yourself. And after doing a month working in an office job at about 16, that decided it for me that I didn't want to work in an office under somebody. I wanted to sort of run something of my own. Now, that didn't have much structure to it. I just knew I wanted to run something of my own. But at that point, I was actually in a college course for enterprise and entrepreneurship. It was about a year long, and in that you had to launch a micro business, something that traded. So what I did was I actually started to import motorcycle accessories from China, and brought in my first batch of sort of random stands and things of that sort, and thought that eBay would be the place. Without really, everyone's got experience on eBay, everyone has, but without proper experience running a business on eBay. And to be honest with you, the first stock load was nearly a massive loss, pretty much. It was a loss, but I say it wasn't a massive loss. And really from there, I just carried on running that as part of the course. And then when I left that, I was sort of at that course. I was still sort of running this small motorcycle accessory business. But I had to go out and get work. So still 16, turning 17 at that point, but still sort of had an idea to run my own business and wanted this to grow. So I actually I was laboring on a building site for about 2 years whilst I grew this motorcycle business. And really, in truth, I just learned and failed constantly. Launched my own website. It was horrific. It was not somewhere that anybody would even buy anything in terms of usability. And if you look at the motorcycle accessory market in the UK, the sort of retail websites are quite good. I realized at that point that search, SEO and pay-per-click was going to be the strong area for me before I even ventured into Amazon as a platform. But that's when I really we're looking 6-7 years ago now, probably 7 years ago, I ventured into really diving into learning about SEO, pay-per-click advertising, and how pay-per-click works across platforms, how SEO works, really around the digital PR and partnerships route. And then from that, formed this motorcycle business into a brand, which is now called LDM. And that brand is what I then pushed forwards with. But at the same time, the business was still growing. It wasn't at a great size. But what I'd realized was what I'd learned through building this and starting to drive sales and really deep diving into these subjects, I had a lot of skills that would benefit other businesses around me. And, as you always do, I started with helping with the family business and applying what I knew. And at the same time, that got interest from others. So about 3.5 years ago, I actually then launched Brick Digital, which the idea of Brick is taking all of the expertise I had and also bringing now on board other experts from different areas to deliver digital marketing, but focused on search with a search specialism, but delivering it to businesses who potentially, weren't ahead of the digital curve when we first started working with them. So bringing companies into that sort of area and also allowing them to grow through the internet. And that's really our focus is, I always call it building businesses brick by brick. It's literally about how can we grow revenue? How can we make sure that this company can grow, build its own team or build a bigger team from what it already has? And all of that comes down to our core search specialism. So we're always focusing on search marketing, but we also focus on, the things that drive revenue, conversion rate, optimization, usability. So that's sort of my journey to where we are now. We're a small but growing team. We're actually hiring a couple more people at the moment, conducting interviews.
Great.
Still based in Watford. I love the buzz around here. It's really good for business, and it's just outside London, which is great. But that's really how I got to this position now, which isn't, in my eyes, is nothing massive or major. But it's a good place to now start from. LDM is still running the brand, as you'll know, Omar.
Okay.
And it's something that's really become a side hustle rather than the main business that it used to be.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the journey.
Okay. So yeah, that's. It sounds very very interesting, because the thing is, what I understand is that you actually work 1 month for somebody, and that's it. You said you don't want anymore, correct?
Yeah. So in truth,
16,
I had 1 month working for free, experience, doing digital marketing for this company. And then I did 2 years of laboring and 2 weeks as a waiter. That was my job.
That's great to understand how everything works. And, then you said directly, okay, I don't want this anymore. So, and out of your passion, actually, so you ride motorbikes, correct?
Yeah, always have done since I was about 13.
Okay. Since you're 13. So out of your passion, there is this brand, everything came into place up to Amazon, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And then Amazon became actually, one part of that I missed, and that was that Amazon became a big part of selling the brand. Okay.
So now LDM is there. Is there any other brands you're running at the moment, or this is your only passion?
There is one other brand that's coming soon, called the Titan Shelter, which is sort of a motorcycle cover. So that's kind of actually in the works at the moment. But otherwise, no. LDM is still the sort of the passion project brand.
Okay. I think it's amazing, and you should really keep at it. I think personally, because it's a passion, it's a niche, and I know the competition is hard. But the thing is, you always can make it better than the others, because most of the brands selling, I know myself, because, I did the research and everything, but most of the brands are Chinese brands. They don't know the markets. They don't know the UK market. You are local there, you're passionate. You could, like, I'm sure you have already like a club or like a Facebook group and all this stuff around, So I think it's especially right now. Not now in the lockdown, but as soon as the lockdown is over, or when there's another lockdown, let's see, when all of this is done, I'm sure people will go again outside a lot with their motorbikes, and then we can, we can build this again up. And now I would build it like, and then afterwards you push it out to the people. It's definitely. I think it's amazing.
You're right, thank you, and you're right as well. Actually, that's one trend we've noticed is obviously the lockdown's now technically over in the UK. All restrictions, legally binding ones, are gone, but that has been a trend since that became since we started to come out of it. The motorcycle market, in terms of the clothing, and also we're in that affordable range, and I think that's key as well to the right brand, is being in the right price range. And since then, the trend has ticked upwards. And people, like you're right, they want to get out. They just want to be outside. I personally as well just want to be outside after all the lockdowns. Just want to spend some time. And I'm trying now to find some time to get out on my motorbike or even out on a mountain bike, just so I can get some space. So I'm the same. I'm in that market as well.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it's really important, and you can build on that. And I'm sure at some point, it will roll on its own again. There is so many things attached to it, and yourself, you do the SEO. There is things which you can trigger from Google search into the listings. There is plenty possibilities. What I want to say in global is that really passion is the number one driving factor. Now, if I would have asked you, do you ride motorcycles? You would have said no. Then it would be already like, okay, there is not this power behind. It can be, there can be somebody who says, okay, let's have some baby articles, but they don't have a baby, But but still, if you're a mother, you sell baby articles, it's amazing. You're behind, you can talk with them on Facebook, on Instagram. There are so many channels where you really can explode, if you have the time as well, and if you can handle it down to other people. So that's why I'm always telling everybody, you have gold in your hands if you are passionate about something and you sell accessories. Myself, really, I missed the train. I started boxing material in early 2000, but I had no clue about Amazon.
Yeah.
So I put on my own website, I built the links on my own, everything, but it didn't work. I mean, it worked. I didn't know how to reorder, for example. It was all mess. I was too young and it was too messy. That's exactly another story, but
that's exactly how I explain it to people. When your first one, I think it fails so terribly and so spectacularly. And even if there were orders coming in, like even at that point, you don't have the first clue. And I think it's funny because a lot of people, they'll see or sort of start your business young and they'll think, oh, well, that's, just good on you and just try and encourage you. But they don't see that actually most of the time, as you understand, it's not going very well. And I can certainly say my first, LDM was originally LD motorcycles. That was all accessories. Then I branched out and tried to offer every brand I could. And then I realized that doesn't work. Then I went down my own brand route, still didn't do too well. And then I discovered strategy. So I'd say, that was three major mini parts of the business that failed before I even found a way to make it profitable. Until then, I was laboring, I'm putting money back into it to keep buying stock, even though we're making a loss. But as I said, it's one of those situations where you have to, especially, don't get me wrong, if you've had experience in e-commerce through working for someone else, I'm sure you can make it work first time. But if you haven't, then you've got to fail and learn.
I think even if you're young and you have guidance, it's most probably you're gonna mess it up somewhere, because you don't have the same discipline as you have when you get older. Not everyone, but let's say percentage wise, more people are less disciplined when they're young than when they get older and understand the game.
Yeah. So you take much bigger risks.
Yeah, it's true, and that's one of the problems. I mean, like I said, it's I literally, just bought everything, put it on my back, put it in the plane, and flew, don't matter, customs, nothing, no, it's okay. Nobody talked to me, but still, it's not a plan. You know what I mean? It's like you said, you take risks, you just do strange stuff, and actually the idea behind is a perfect idea. It would have gone multi-million after a few years, because at the time,
just not the right person at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was not meant to be, but people done it, and people I've seen at least 10 companies afterwards which done the same and which exploded. Now obviously don't work anymore because you know yourself, you can arbitrage is just forget about it. It's I mean, you still can do it, but it's not the same wingspan anymore than it was before. So yeah. I think that's what I'm saying. Passion, putting your own logo on this thing, and don't do the arbitrage. For me, for boxing material and as well for motorcycle, I think this is it's the best.
A tight market. And also you have it depends as well. I think in a lot of industries you have obviously dealers and distributors who won't allow exactly. Undercutting and things of that sort. So I think that's the funny thing when it comes to Amazon. I think a lot of people think of the obvious stuff, arbitrage. They think about just private labeling, small products that come from China, which I'm saying it works perfectly well. Don't get me wrong. I've got some small product lines which do really well like that. But there are other opportunities within slightly more regulated, I say regulated, but watched over markets. Like in motorcycles, as I said, you can't sell things super cheap because dealers, distributors will cut you off if you do that. But it doesn't, and a lot of people that will put off. But if you do it properly, you can still do very well in those markets, bringing them to Amazon. There's a lot of opportunity to maybe even take the dealers to Amazon and take a cut with it. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think especially when you've got the right team, and as I've used yourselves before. when you've got those expertise that you can call on for Amazon, you can launch pretty much any product if it's half decent, and do quite well out of it.
For sure, and what I think what is as well very good is that you have the experience now on Amazon, and you have your company yourself, and obviously you can test on things. I think this is brilliant, because SEO, when people say SEO, they say, oh, SEO. No, because it's wrong, it's wrong, because SEO and SEO is two different things. So when you actually an agency which give an SEO, providing SEO services, you really need to go deep, like same as us when we do the keyword research. It's not just like building links like before, and there is so much work involved, so much hours, so much labor, and it really, the results are coming. It's what I'm always trying to explain is that if you have the choice between going to Upwork or going to Fiverr or anything, choose the agency. It's most of the time it's I mean, in the beginning, when you don't have too much budget, Upwork is okay, Fiverr is okay. But for SEO, for real advanced, is companies like yours, definitely, who need always training, who need to update themselves, because the industry is so fast, And I think the combination of what you're doing is definitely amazing, And there's my question: where do you think, where is your plan to head within the next 10 years with your company, or 5 years? What is the
so we're growing at the moment as a sort of traditional agency model,
Okay.
More clients, more great people to service those clients. But we are moving towards, within the next sort of 5 to 6 years, there is actually a plan to develop Brick into something more of a sort of a new offering, a subscription-based offering. It's kind of very early days at the moment. We're developing a new product, but that's actually sort of something that's in the pipeline for the next 5 years. But generally, it's about, for me, it was always about building a team of great people doing great work and enjoying work, and then allowing us to launch other products or other projects within the team. And that was what Brick was always about. So that's really my focus for the next 5 years, is to build a great team, and make sure that we keep serving those clients. Yes, we've got lots of e-commerce companies, that work with us. We've also got lots of companies who are like a showroom in North London who sell kitchens.
Okay.
They're I like to service both ends, because those are the companies that really need what we do, because they would otherwise not have a clue, and they would also otherwise potentially be exposed to the worst end of the SEO market, or the search marketing industry, which there is a good side, I'd say, and there's a bad side. And that's really the kind of people we like to service as well, just as much as the much larger brands who look better on our case studies. We just as much like to work with smaller local companies, family businesses who we get to see grow. We've seen one client who's in the events industry. They're in the events industry throughout COVID, and by tailoring their offering and changing it and pivoting at the beginning of it, them along with our team have managed to double the size of their company in terms of their staff. And there's very few event agencies who have done that. I don't know many event agencies who have done that during COVID. So it's a really interesting one. That's the kind of stuff that people always say, like, people in pitches always ask us, what's your favorite, success story? And right now, that's my favorite success story, because we've managed to sort of help a company who could have been at risk, but don't get me wrong, it was their idea to pivot. They did a great job, but we managed to help them sort of pull them through this and be able to keep creating careers, which is also something that I'm quite passionate about, is creating good jobs, not just jobs, but like good jobs.
Okay. Yeah, but this is exactly what I mean, because from my side, the COVID, for example, COVID was always for many people it's negative, For me, I see it as a blessing, because there is plenty businesses which could thrive to this, plenty. And plenty people who could shift. And even us in the e-commerce industry, in the first 3 months I was as well afraid, but afterwards it just boomed, everything was good, It's just, you just had to lay back a bit and watch the situation, you know. But eventually it's good for everyone, because out of this, things like you said just happen. Companies grew, new projects grew. People, when there is change, when there is so drastic, extreme change, people get out of their comfort zone because they have to, because there's no other choice. They need to survive. So they come up with ideas which in normal times they would not even have come up with, you know. So in this situation, this is exactly a good example of what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly been a rough year for a lot of companies, which I can totally sympathize with. And as you said, it has also been the birthplace of sort of innovation for some companies.
Sure.
And, you know, all praise to the ones that didn't. And unfortunately, as I said, some people, their businesses couldn't thrive through something like this.
Yes, sure.
Which I always say, you know, people ask how the past year's been for us, people who don't even understand what I do, my family half the time. You know, but I always say, you know, we're very lucky to have been in the industry that you and I are in. And also on the side of the digital marketing agency, with Brick, we were lucky because actually I looked at our client pool and we just seemed to be have a client pool that wasn't directly impacted by COVID.
Exactly.
If that had been the other way, you know, and our client list was built up of restaurants, event venues and things that had to shut for the past year and a half, then I probably wouldn't be saying I was very lucky. So yeah, there's definitely, like you said, but it has been a birthplace of innovation for some companies to really do something different.
Yeah, definitely, because for us was the same, you know. There is for example, the ships could not go out, so you don't have material. So at the same time, you cannot do any work for clients, you understand? So if this would have been shut down completely, which it wasn't, definitely then the whole industry would just break apart. But it was not, I think it's literally wasn't possible that the ships don't come anymore, because if then how long would it take to cut off the European Union and US from any supplies that come out of China, you know, and people would go mad, you know. It's just not possible. So yeah, I think it was a matter of time, and now we just have to in order to go again the way, or to make it better next time, because there will be something else coming again. Now, I don't know when, maybe in a few years, you know, but everyone who is involved in this right now should always have already a way out, you know. And I think that we should not be too heavy. Means, I don't know if you have an office, for example, because now with the offices, you have to pay rent, you have to pay staff, you have to, you know, there is plenty of things which you have to pay. What if, for example, if something like this is coming again and you have to 1 year to lay off and work from home, that means you're everywhere, you know, it's very hard to even if we would have an office, we would be out already. That's for sure, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think so. For example, we have an office, but it's always about how you. I think looking forward, we'll always have an office, but it's about, I think you'll see how people change the way they do business. They'll change the contracts they agree after this. There will certainly be. I noticed that people at the beginning of this year, when the UK was in a deep lockdown, really were against signing long contracts. They were massively against it because there was uncertainty. And actually, funnily enough, in the business to business service market, we noticed that every time there was going to be a new government announcement, nobody was committing. Nobody was buying it from our clients. Clients were saying things are really slow. You know, unfortunately, it was just because people were waiting to hear what the next announcement was. But I think now that certainty's back, especially, I mean, I'm talking from the UK's position. You know, we're out of the lockdown. Things are a lot more laid back, and hopefully we're on the way out of it. And that's where I say certainty's come back. E-commerce is still doing well. There has been a drop off, but that's because it depends what industry you're in. We've got clients who are in stuff that is nothing to do with the outdoors, and they're sort of tailing off. But then some who are, you know, selling products in the outdoor space, and that works really well at the moment, obviously, because as I said, people just want to get out of their houses at the moment. And you've got the other trend of the fact that people haven't gone on as many holidays, and they've therefore spent more money just on general things, probably on Amazon. You know, they've just grabbed a few more products than they usually would have, or a few more gimmicks or gadgets.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. grocery stuff, and everything is shifting at the moment. And as everything is shifting, everything gets as well bigger. So we just have to watch the markets, and I think the only thing at the moment, it's the easiest time. You just grow with it. It's I mean, obviously you have to jump on the good boat, but still you grow with it, because right now we are at I call it always the baby phase, because it's like a baby, and maybe in 100 years it will grow to a man, but it's still not to an adult, but it's still not, we're still very low, and everything can work right now. So everything what has to do with e-commerce, as well offline. But I'm not specialized in anything offline, because I'm super afraid to open a restaurant, to have some kind of a store, anything what is related to offline. I'm a bit hesitant right now, because like I said, it's if something like this comes again and you just were into the thing, then it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to do,
Yeah, it's a tough market.
Yeah. So I think, out of all of this, there is passion was created, as we said already before, and motivation as well, because people now are very motivated to do something. Because you cannot just put your head in the sand right now. It's just not possible. You need to be kind of motivated, you as well. It's for everyone, and for you in general. What does motivate you? I mean, what are you saying? Okay, I get up in the morning. I don't know at what time you get up, but when you get up in the morning, what does motivate you? Why you get up?
I don't get up extortionately early like many people do or claim to. I just sort of get up whenever I've got to be into the office. But I'm one of those people that doesn't, I don't mind working late or early or whatever. But what motivates me is I think in each of the things I do, it's different things. But for me, it's always been about building something that's tangible, that's something that we can, I can look back on and say, right, we built this business. We grew it from what it was nothing. The fact it motivates me a lot when I've seen, or I get a text from friends and say, I've seen someone riding past in your gear, or I've seen somebody out riding their motorbike and they go past me with our clothing on, and like that still gets me, gives me a buzz, because that's the kind of thing that I want. You've built something out of nothing, from the ground, and there's something that people now refer to or speak about Brick Digital, and they say, they refer to it as if it's a thing, and to me it's still not a thing. It's still just, because I created it, I saw it, I knew it was nothing. But now people speak about it as if it is actually a well-known sort of company. And I think, wow, we've done that. And that's what it is. And I think even then for me, it's about sharing the expertise to see other companies grow. That's what motivates me. I like seeing other companies do well, thanks to working with us. And likewise yourself, you support businesses in growing through Amazon. We're just on the other side with Google, and it lights you up when you can see their sales figures going up because of a direct impact of what you've done.
Exactly.
That's what I think lights me up. And then obviously at the same time, personally, it's great to build something financially that's a hub, and like a safe. Not I say safety. I suppose it's not really a safe hub, is it? Entrepreneurship. It kind of could be swept away from you at any point. But for me, it's about having that sort of financial stability that comes with owning my space, owning the finances that go on. And I think live and die by my work within the business. So if it was to go bad, then it would only be on me to rectify that. And I think so. That kind of ownership is keeps me going.
I think it's really good. It is the entrepreneurship, definitely. I would say the same. And the passion all around, and what you can create. It's simply amazing. And what would be a message to our listeners out there, or to some which just want to create their business in these times in general?
I'd say that my always thing is that you just literally have to be prepared to not just fail, because everybody says that, they're like, well, failure's good, and that's all well and good to be said, but that's great. And everybody can listen to it and everyone can be it their mantra. But at the same time, nobody knows how it is until you've actually failed. And looking back, I think I failed quite a few times without realizing I failed. At that point, I was just like, right, I need to make this better. I need to make it better. Not realizing now I look back and think, wow, that was actually a really, a terrible moment for the business. And that was a failure. But I think that's my message is you have to go for it and just focus on what the outcome is, not so much what your goal is, but when you set out, what's your outcome? If it was to earn a certain amount of money, right, you're just going after that. Whatever it takes to get to that point, get there. When you get there, you'll realize that your goal wasn't just that money. You might want more money or you might want something else, but get to that point. So whatever it takes, if you say you're going to do it, go and just go at it hell for leather, and you are going to mess up. There is going to be trouble. But at the same time as well, I tell people the same message. At that point, you'll discover whether you ever really wanted it as well. And when you get an inkling that actually, I don't like the worry that comes with running my own business, I cut at that point as well. Because there's some people I think that they kind of romanticize entrepreneurship and running your own business.
Yes.
And they think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and you get up whenever you want. I know I just said I do, but I still work, when I say that, it's still quite early compared to most, but they think it's just this absolute bubble of happiness and money, and it's all just pouring over the sides. But that's not realistic, and that's certainly not realistic. As I said, many people start a business and it's successful from day one, and I take my hat off to them, but majority don't. And you're likely to be in that majority. Don't let that be a knocking comment, but realize that it's not sexy as you thought it was. But still go at it if that's what you really want.
I completely agree. Because the media is showing us stuff, and which is not really true. But everyone who listens normally to this channel knows that. It's just really the whole thing about it. Yes, yeah. I know.
I mean,
it's terrible.
I've got loads of random products that I bought from China that never sold on Amazon because they just couldn't. They were just rubbish.
Yes,
they're sat there in storage, just piled up, and I've got to do something with them. You can even look at that and go, "Oh, look how much money I lost. I'm terrible. I did make a bad decision. It was a stupid, and that's probably down to me being young and taking bigger risks. But you can either look at that as that and let it beat you down, or you can say, right, we go again. We just picked the wrong thing, and I'm not. I'm still here. Still got a bit of money to my name, so let's do it again."
Yeah, it's good. You just, at least you did it. You made a decision. That's the point. If it turns out bad, it's like that. If it turns out good, it's good. The good should be more than the bad. So that's the only thing
I always think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Is that if it went, I always think if you messed up like I did like that, you can look at it as I messed up and I've made a bad decision. But if it went well, you would be so confident. You'd be on top of the world. You'd feel amazing. So it's like, well, that would only be the feeling that you failed. But it could have gone so well, and you have to trust in the fact that you thought it would go really well at the beginning. If you do it again, there's still a chance that it could go very well.
Exactly.
So you have to try again. And as I said, your first product, your first thing, it's definitely on Amazon. It can, some people get excited about the numbers I see on listings and they think, I could sell 1,000 of them a day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably unlikely. If somebody else is, and this is your first product, you're not going to do those numbers.
Hard.
Hard.
Be
realistic.
Yeah, but I think all of putting all together in one point is what you're doing is definitely the good direction. You have your brand, you have your company, everything works together, and it's just a matter of building everything up. The years will show, like you said, the business don't grow over one night. It happens, like you said, but it's not the norm. So the norm is that you need to build something up over years, and then you possibly can sell it. That's the normal thing. What is happening for entrepreneurs. But in general, like I said, it's a very mindful game, and you need to take a lot, and you need to give as well a lot to people. Taking in terms of I don't like it negativity. I like to call it challenges. You take the challenges and you give good out to people, and then if you have the good balance, everything should be fine,
Over time, yeah, definitely over time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One question: where can people contact you if they want SEO services from a UK company, maybe even from the city where you're from, no matter, because it's always good to have somebody in the city or even in the country, no matter, or even outside of the country, I mean,
we work with clients across the UK, some in Europe, even launching a UK brand in Europe, and then also in the US. But the best place to contact me is on my LinkedIn, Lorenzo Luizo. Sure, it'll be, my name will be written out somewhere for people to spell.
You gotta put it in.
And also, if you'd like, you can go to brick-digital.co.uk. That's another place to check out what we do. But LinkedIn is probably a great place to get in touch with me if you want to get in touch with me personally and to send me a message. I'm relatively active on there. I should be more active, but shouldn't we all on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it's fine. That's fine. At least we have the Brick Digital SEO company, which is giving, I would say, the best, for me, is the best services within the UK, relatively to others who are obviously bigger SEO company. It's another game, but for your size, you're definitely the best. And you can take a lot of workload for this very complex subject, which I understand because I work myself with Amazon search engines. But everyone who wants to use services within the UK for SEO should definitely go to Brick Digital.
Thanks a lot, Omar. Yeah.
With this, I close this up, and I hope we can meet in person at some point. If not, we should definitely stay in touch. And then speak to you later. It was a pleasure to having you on the show.
Thanks a lot, Omar. Cheers. It was great to be on it.
Thank you.